And so this is for Algebra 2. This one, I didn't do all of them for you because you're all big boys and girls and should be able to do some of them by yourself. But I did, so the first, I think, 8 are multiple choice. I want you guys to get used to what these graphs look like and being able to kind of judge whether or not the answers are correct based upon what you know how to graph. So you don't need to graph the entire graph. Rather, what you can do is you can, use what we know about, basically on the steps I gave you, steps 1 through 4, and figure out which one it is. So, number 1, we notice that number 1 says negative 2x squared. So because A is negative, that means it opens down. So we can immediately get rid of those two. Now, normally the next steps would be graphing negative b over 2a. But I'm going to kind of jump down to step 7, which is graphing 0c. So I know that my c here is negative 9. So I know that the y-intercept is negative 9. So I'm going to look at c and d, and I see at one of them the intercept is 0, 0, and the other one the intercept is 9. Which means c is my answer. So by looking at the equation, determining that it opens down and that the y-intercept is at negative 9, I immediately can figure out the answer. Number 2, same general idea. It opens up. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us. So we know that the intercept is at 10, which gets rid of c. And then, so now we're kind of stuck because we actually need to get into the graphing portion of it. So what our next step would be to find the axis of symmetry. And here the axis of symmetry, remember, is x equals negative b over 2a. So that's negative 6 over 2 times 1, or negative 3. Well, which one of these has an axis of symmetry at negative 3? Not B, not D, so that leaves A. Try 3 and 4 by yourself. Take about, I don't want you guys spending more than about 3-4 minutes on these. You should be able to look at them, quickly go through, figure out which ones are wrong, and boil it down to which one's right. So take 4 minutes to do both of these. Okay, 4 minutes have passed in your time. Well, no time has passed here. So number 3, we know that it faces down because A is negative, so we can immediately get rid of C. We also know that the y-intercept is at negative 6. So that means we can get rid of D. So that leaves B and A. Now notice that B and A are basically the exact same graph, except one has an axis of symmetry at negative 3, and one has an axis of symmetry at positive 3. So we have negative B over 2A equals negative 6 over 2 times negative 1. That gives us negative 6 over negative 2, or positive 3, which means that B is our answer. 4 opens down, so we can get rid of A. We know the y-intercept is at negative 33. So we can get rid of C, because there the y-intercept is at negative 3. Remember, we'd graph 0, 3, or 0, 0, negative 33. So that leaves us again. We have B and D. We have the axis of symmetry for B is at negative 4. The axis of symmetry for D is at positive 4. So we're going to go negative 16 over negative 2 times 2. Because negative B over 2A. B is 16, so we go negative 16. A is negative 2. We have 16 over negative 4 then, or positive 4, which gives us D as our answer. Okay, so then you guys, using that, should be able to get through the other ones. If you guys get stuck on some graphing ones, I'll walk you guys through a couple, but then you guys should be able to do the rest. So, number 9, and these are the steps. So, all of these are already in standard form. So, step 1 is taken care of for you. Step 2, we want to identify A, B, and C. A is negative 2, B is negative 8, C is negative 5. Okay. Step 3, solve for negative B over 2A. So that's going to give us negative 2 because we add positive 8 over negative 4, which is negative 2. So that means our axis of symmetry is in negative 2, and that's what we're graphing is x equals negative 2. I actually graphed it without marking it as step 4. I realized that later on and go back and change the steps. So step 5, which I have inconveniently marked as step 4, is find the value of f of negative b over 2a. So here, where we found that negative b over 2a equals negative 2, so now we find f of negative 2. Basically, really all we're doing is solving the equation when x equals negative 2. So that's negative 2 times negative 2 squared. We're just plugging in negative 2 for x, minus 8 times negative 2, minus 5. Sorry, major yawn there. So negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 2 times negative 8 is a positive 16. And negative 5, well, is negative 5. So negative 8 plus 16 is 8. 8 minus 5, 3. So we know that f of negative 2 is 3. It's positive 3. So it's up here. So that's step 5. That's step 6. Step 7, we're going to graph 0c, which is 0, negative 5. And then we flip that over the axis of symmetry, which when we flip it over, the point that it flips to is negative 4, negative 5. And step 9, we connect the dots. So that's what 9 looks like. A equals negative 1, B equals negative 4, and C equals negative 6. So for the rest of these after I get through with this one, please have them work on these, and then if they need help with a specific one, you can just kind of fast forward through the remainder and have them do those ones, or show them how that one works. So Next step, that's step 2. We want to find the value of negative b over 2a. So we're going to go in negative 4 over 2 times negative 1 equals negative 2. So step 4 is x equals negative 2. That's our axis of symmetry, so that's what we graph. Step 5 is we want to find the value of the function when we plug negative 2 in. So we call that f of negative 2, and that gives us negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2 minus 6 equals negative 4, because it's negative 2 squared, that's positive 4. Then we have that negative on the outside, so that's negative 4 minus 4 times negative 2, which is plus 8, minus 6. Negative 4 plus 8 is 4. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So that means that our vertex is going to be at negative 2, right there. Our next step then is to graph 0c, which is 0, negative 6. We then want to flip that over the axis of symmetry, which is at x equals 2, negative 2, sorry. So that flips over to right there, which is negative 4, negative 6. And then number 9, we connect the dots. Okay, so you guys should have enough information to be able to work the rest of these problems by yourself. If not, there are, I think I did like 3 more. So if you're stuck, you got number 12. For some reason, I did number 12 first before number 11. So number 12, a equals 2, b equals negative 4, and c equals 0. There is no c there, so it equals 0. 3, negative b over 2a. Negative 4 over 2 times 2. That gives us 4 over 2, or 2. Or 4 over 4, or 1. So we know that the axis of symmetry is at 1. We then plug 1 in. So f of 1 equals 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1. That gives us 2 minus 4, or negative 2. So we know our vertex is at 1, negative 2. And we're going to graph that. Step 7 is we graph the y-intercept, 0c. Now here, c is 0. There's no c. So graph 0, 0. So that means it intercepts at the origin. We then flip that over to 2, 0. And then we connect the dots. Easy peasy. Now, number 11, we have negative 3x minus 12x minus 15. So, A, B, C. A is negative 3, B is negative 12, C is negative 15. Negative b over 2a, we're going to go negative 12 over 2 times negative 3. That gives us 12 over negative 6, or negative 2. So we know that x equals negative 2 right there. That's our axis of symmetry. We then want to find out what we get when we plug that negative 2 in. So we do f of negative 2. That gives us negative 3 times negative 2 squared minus 12 times negative 2 minus 15. Well, negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 times negative 2 is positive 24. Vanya, knock it off. The kitten's terrorizing the other cats. Plus 15. Negative 12 plus 24 is 12. 12 minus 15 is negative 3. So we know that our vertex is going to be at negative 2, negative 3. Our y-intercept is at negative 15. So we graph 0, negative 15. We then flip that over the line of x equals negative 2, and we graph negative 4, negative 15. And then we connect the dots. And this is the last example I'm going to give you. Number 17. A is 2, B is negative 8, C is 12. So negative b over 2a is negative negative 8 over 2 times 2, which gives me 8 over 4, or 2. So that means that at x equals 2, that's my axis of symmetry. To find my vertex, I plug 2 into the equation for x. So f of 2 equals 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 12. 2 times 2 is 2 times 2 is 8 minus 8 times 2, 16, plus 12. 8 minus 16 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 12, it's 4. So I know my vertex is at 2, 4. I graph that. Graph my y-intercept, which occurs at 0c, 0, 12. And then flip it over the line. 4, 12. And that's that. Thank you very much. I hope you guys are on your best behavior for the sub. If you have any more questions, we'll go over them on Friday. Best of luck.